Howdy! Welcome to Aspire Mountain Academy. I'm Professor Curtis, your instructor for this course in Introductory Statistics. In less than 10 minutes, this video shows how to perform nonlinear regression much more easily by using Excel. Let's get started. So we've seen in previous mini lectures how StatCrunch is really clunky for some applications, and nonlinear regression is one of those applications. So, let's look at the same example problem that we saw in the previous mini lecture, but this time we're going to solve it with Excel instead of StatCrunch. So first, we got to get our data into Excel. And once we do that, we go to the Insert tab at the top for our menu options, and then we're going to select, there's the Insert tab, and then we're going to select from the charts area, we're going to select this button here for the scatter plot. And we just want the standard option for creating a simple scatter plot. So once you select that button, then you're going to get a scatter plot that appears in your data table. Now we're ready to make our model. So let's go ahead, and in the plus area that you see to the right of your graph there, you want to click on that so you get the charts element list that you see there, and go ahead down at the bottom, make sure you check on the option for trend line. A trend line then appears on your scatter plot, which you can see there on the screen. Note the default is a linear fit. That's fine. We'll actually work with that. I'll show you how to do that here in a moment. Okay, now the next step is to go over to that trend line there on your data plot, and while your cursor is hovered over some point on that line, just go ahead and right click with the mouse so you get this drop down menu that you see here, and you want to select the last option there that says Format Trend Line. Okay, then you're going to get this area called Format Trend Line that appears on the right side of your window there in Excel. You want to scroll all the way down to the bottom and get the last two options there, Display Equation on Chart and Display R-squared value on chart. You want to check both of those options. Then with both of those options checked, okay, notice you'll get this little text box here that appears here on the screen. Okay, sometimes it's a little small, a little hard to read some of the values that are here in the box, but that's okay. Don't mess with it right now. I'll explain why in a moment. But if you scroll back up to the top of the Format Trendline area, notice we've got the different generic nonlinear model types that we need to consider. So what we're going to do is toggle through each one of those and look at this R-squared value there in the text box, and that's what we're going to use to determine which model we need to make. So we take that R-squared value and we watch that as we toggle through each of those model options. Okay, notice we're only using the first 5 because those are the same 5 generic model types that we saw earlier in a previous mini lecture. Okay, the type here for moving average, forget about that. You're never going to use it, so just ignore it. Don't even bother with it. When you toggle through each of the different model options, you're going to see that the exponential function has the best R-squared value, which is 0.9968. So that's the one that we select. Once we've selected the best fitting model, now we can actually blow that up so we can see the actual numbers better. Okay, and the way we do that is by selecting everything inside the text box, and then we can go back to the Home tab and use these options up here at the top to increase the font size until we can clearly see the numbers. Okay, make sure you adjust the font size of the text box after selecting the model. If you adjust the text box first, what ends up happening is those values that you see there for your coefficients and your R-squared value, they're not going to change when you toggle between the different models. So you're not going to know which one's the best. That's why you pick the best model first and then go ahead and make the adjustments here inside the text box. Okay? To make a prediction with the model, you're going to need to use the equation to calculate it. Okay? There's two different ways you can do this. Okay? You can actually just write this out and do it old school style, or since you're actually in a spreadsheet, why don't you just let it do the calculation for you. So that's the way I recommend. Just put a value out there in the cell. So notice here we added an extra row here to our table. There's our 8th day that we want to make a prediction for. And in the cell right next to it, I typed in this function, which is this model equation right here. I actually typed it in so that, and reference this cell for the predicted independent variable, so I could get a prediction for the dependent variable that I actually want. And notice the value that comes out. It's pretty similar to what we saw previously in the previous mini lecture with StatCrunch. So, I think Excel is a much more effective way to actually get your model answer out. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, let me just back up a little bit here so you can actually see this number a little bit better. When you're putting your answers into the answer fields, okay, the 14.058 is what you want to put in. Don't put in the 0.6372. You want to put in e raised to the 0.6372. So you do have a little bit of calculation to do, but you can do that here in the spreadsheet, or you can do it with your hand calculator. Either one will give you the answer that you really need to look for. And that brings us to the end of this mini lecture. I hope you found it helpful. You can find more mini lectures for this and other courses at AspireMountainAcademy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.